Again, we are live here from your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. I'm Emery Songer for the Hy-Vee Homestretch, and as always, starting the show being joined by your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee store director, Cleet Hjorth. Cleet, how's it going?
Awesome. How you doing tonight?
Doing great. It's been a couple weeks since we had a chance to catch up with state softball and all. By the way, a huge state softball recap with Oskaloosa head coach Jay Harms and Eddyville Blakesburg Fremont coach Tony Fenton, both in the house tonight. But first and foremost, we got to talk about this dinner that has so many people coming in here tonight.
Absolutely. So it's our boneless pork chop dinner. It's a smoked pork chop. It's absolutely delicious. And we're doing it with green beans or corn, a huge baked potato, and a dinner roll with it, and it's only $5. So it's incredibly popular. We've had a steady line all evening, but we've got plenty to go, and we serve it till 7 o'clock so people can come in, get it dine in, get it carry out, and just let us do the cooking tonight.
And what a great summer night to just come and chill and say hey to some coaches. But beyond that, if you also have some other supplies that you need to get, there are still a few days left of your month-long Stretch Your Dollars sale that you've had going on with several items. Take us through that one more time.
All right, so we've got our 6 budget stretchers. There are a few days left to take advantage of these awesome deals. We've got certified ground chuck for only $1.99 a pound, 4-ounce pork chops for 69 cents, fresh strawberries, 99 cents a pound, Hy-Vee butter, $1.99, Gatorade 8-packs for $2.99, and then Keystone Light 15 packs for only $5.99. So they're absolutely incredible deals, and there's still a few days left to take advantage of those.
Well, what I find interesting is that you probably had to practice that an awful lot, but there's other things that you have to practice and prepare for, like your 2-day sale that's going on.
So we like to just stack the deals on top of the deals. So tomorrow and Saturday, we've got a 2-day sale, and a couple of the items that we have are Little Debbie's for 99 cents, that Smart Cottage Cheese for 98 cents, Skippy Peanut Butter for 98 cents, Lay's Chips $1.68. Dr. Pepper products, the 6 packs of bottles are 4 for $6, and those are just a handful of the deals that we've got going on. So shoppers can take a look at our Facebook page or look at our ad in the shopper and get the rest of those deals.
And people who are fretting that, you know, maybe I'm out of town this week, I'm not going to make the Hy-Vee by the end of the month. What do you have to say to those people that may have to come in early August?
Well, we've got great news, because next Thursday for our dinner, we're going to do a big smoked pulled pork sandwich. Green beans, or actually baked beans, coleslaw for only $6. So it's a huge sandwich, a great meal, and again, only $6. So
there's going to be no beating the deals that you get here on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis here at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. Cleet, as always, you're a madman, but we appreciate you being a madman here in Oskaloosa. And thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for the dinner tonight, and we'll catch up with you again next week.
All right, sounds great. We'll see you next week.
All right, that is Cleet Hjorth, your store director here at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. We'll take a break. When we come back, our first guest of the night is a state champion softball coach. His team finished in 3rd place in Class 4A this year. It's Oskaloosa head coach Jay Harms. We'll talk to him after this on the Hy-Vee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.
Hey Jill, have you heard about the big summer meltdown sales on big deals this week?
How hot are we talking?
It's price melting hot. It's hotter than Satan's toenails. It's hotter than a jalapeno's armpit. It's hotter than 2 rabbits making babies in a sock.
Wow, that's hot. What's on sale?
All sorts of gift certificates to your favorite local businesses. Concerts at the Pella Opera House, elite pedicures from the hair designers, iCubs tickets, Stamps Greenhouse, Snowbiz, Dutch Meadows Garden Center in Pella, memberships to Nelson Pioneer Farm, and rounds of golf to awesome courses like Oskaloosa Public Golf, the Atomo Country Club, and Boss Landon.
And you say these are all on big deals?
Right. Head to kboeradio.com and click on the big deals link to start shopping. But Jill, you have to go now. We are melting prices faster than your ice cream cone, and these hot deals won't last. It's KBOE Radio's Big Summer Meltdown. Shop local, save big.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy, with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today.
Welcome back here live from your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee, and our first of 4 great guests that we have for you tonight is Jay Harms. He is the head coach for the softball team, Oskaloosa High School. Coach, thanks so much for joining us once again.
Thanks again for having me, Emery.
Coach, let's talked last week. It was a busy week for us at the No Coast Network, a very busy week for you. A trip that you're kind of getting used to by now. 3 times in the last 4 years after having to wait quite a while to make your first appearance. The Oskaloosa Indians came up with a huge win in 8 innings, walk-off fashion over Mount Pleasant, and unfortunately fell in a tight ball game against number 1 seed Winterset, who ended up winning the state championship. And then you finish your season with a huge 14-1 rout of Charles City in a 3rd place game. Take me through last week and what you felt, your players felt like, and what your emotions were by the end of it.
Well, as you mentioned, that first game, that's sometimes always the toughest one. You know, you want to get in that semifinals, and everybody's a little bit tight to begin with, you know. And I thought last year when our kids played up there, we were really loose. But I thought the first 2 ball games this year, we're a little tighter. But again, you know, we had that state championship on our back, and I think that caused us to play a little bit tighter than what we had, you know, last year. But the first ball game, Mount Pleasant, yeah, great ball game, you know. We thought we were looking pretty good, and give them credit. You know, they battled down. We were 1 pitch away from, you know, winning, and then they tie it up, and we have to go 8 innings, and then of course Megan Mormon's, you know, walk off wins it for us in the 8th. So yeah, that was huge. You know, that was getting that first one's always big, and then of course we had to go against number 1 seed Winterset, and tough ball game. You know, we were looking good again going in the 6th inning. You know, group was throwing very well, and they just come up at the top of the order, you know, in the 6th, and a couple things happen, you know, in situations like that, Emory, when you play those kind of games against those kind of teams, you know, there's such a small window for an error to happen, you know, and it just gets smaller and smaller as you get into those semifinals and championship games, and you know, we made a couple mistakes. And give Winterset credit, you know, they took advantage of those mistakes, and we ended up, you know, getting beat 3-1, and that was a tough loss for the kids. I was a little concerned about coming back on Friday in that 3rd place game because they were really down after that ball game, and they thought we had a very good chance to win that game, which we did, but we just didn't finish it. And then to come back against Charles City and be able to win that game like we did, you know, that was just a feather in the cap to top off a good week for us.
Well, 14-1, softball, one of those weird things that when you get into postseason play, you've earned an opportunity to actually win your last game and not be state champions. And even though it didn't work out the exact way you wanted to, you got a chance to send this 2017 edition of the Indians off with a huge win, which caps off a school record for wins. 31 wins on the year, 13 losses. A team that definitely is going in the record books because it's the 2nd best finish ever in Oskaloosa State history. This team, you thought you were going to see a lot of regular names in regular roles from previous years, but Alexis Westerkamp gets hurt. Anna Jones misses a solid 2.5 weeks in the middle of the season. You're starting to pull out straws. Who's going to be the young players that come in and start taking some of these spots? We saw Maddie Haynes blossom, not only at shortstop, but as a batter. You saw players like Kaylee Johnson, who made a great cameo in the middle of the season with a couple of home runs as an 8th grader. You had a ton of freshmen that were on the team last year, but making huge impacts this year. The Ava Vandewalls, the Megan Mormons, players like Taylor Wills, who was helping lead the team in batting. This was a great mix of experience and youth on a softball team that had tasted great success with the state championship in 2016. As this season kind of wore on, did you expect a state, or a school record rather, with this team winning 31 games?
Well, we knew we had some talent, you know, and a big question mark was group. You know, it really was. You know, we've talked before about how it all starts in the circle, and we didn't know what her status was going to be. You know, she coming off that concussion last year, and she struggled in the spring. She struggled throwing in the winter, and we just didn't know how soon she'd get there. We were hoping that she would be able to get back to top-notch form by the end of the season, and that's what did happen. So early in the season, yeah, we kind of went through some pains a little bit. You know, we maybe lost more games than we thought we might lose, but yet it let us develop some kids. You know, with Westerkamp getting hurt, you know, mentioned Mormon coming in, and she grew as a catcher as the season went on, and she grew as a player as the season went on, and she'd never caught a group before. All of a sudden, you got to catch a pitcher like that, and that's not easy to do. So she really grew up fast, and she had a great season, a great state tournament. You know, I feel a girl that really got slighted a little bit. I thought she was definitely an all-tournament team selection, and didn't get it, but she was okay with that, and she was happy the way she played. Of course, we were very happy the way that she played because she drove in some key runs for us in that state tournament. And then you had a girl, like you mentioned, Maddie Haynes, who, you know, we didn't know. We thought she was going to be a player. We didn't know how soon she was going to be able to help us at the varsity level, and had never played shortstop before until we stuck her in there to practice, and all of a sudden we kind of liked what we saw, and so she really grew up as well as the season went on. You mentioned Taylor Wills, a girl just courtesy ran last year in state tournament games, and all of a sudden, man, she comes up and just, hits the ball, hits that big home run against Mount Pleasant, and has a great season. Ava, we knew Ava could play from last year, and she's a girl that also really got better as the season went on. When you mentioned those 4 girls, Emery, they're all freshmen and 8th graders, and our freshman team this year won 16 ball games, only lost 3. You take those kids, put that on a team. Wow, what a young group that is, to have to build around. And I know Coach C, they won 15 games in the JV, and a lot of kids playing on the varsity could have been playing JV too, but we had them up there playing at the varsity level too. So there's a lot of good young kids coming, and I think that it's going to boil down to who's going to work hard again in the off season. We're going to have to develop some pitching. That's going to be a real key for us, and we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit about next year. But we feel that those kids, there's talent there, and we feel that we can continue to build on that.
This team knows how to win now. There's no excuses as to, well, they haven't gotten over that hump, they don't know how to win yet. Well, now 3 of the last 4 years, you've been at the state tournament, you've won a state championship, finished 3rd and finished 5th. So you've won 2 games at state at least each of the times that you've been at Fort Dodge, and a lot of these girls are going to come back. But what you're losing is the most successful senior class that you've had in your entire coaching career in terms of wins, in terms of numbers. Players like Aubrey Miller, Alexis Westerkamp, who, granted, we didn't see a ton in her senior season. Alexis Groot, who has to be one of the best pitchers this entire area has seen in terms of a full 5-year career. Should be a 5-time All-State pitcher, regardless of what happens in the All-State voting. You look at, who am I forgetting? There's plenty more.
Devin Welch.
Devin Welch.
Yep,
she was a starter. Summer Smith, Chrissy McCombs, both definitely played and had roles on this team. That is a 6-player group that is going to be really hard to address in terms of the leadership they brought to the table. What can you say about what they brought to this team?
Well, as you mentioned, this is a group that's going down as tying for the most wins ever in school history. This group also is the winningest group I've ever had over 5 years, in the program. They won more games than any other group that I've ever had. They've set, while they were in the program, they have set 20 school records. We set 15 or tied, set new ones or tied this year, 15 new school records this year with this group. Been to the state tournament 3 times. They won 7 games and lost 2 in the state tournament. So, I mean, just what a phenomenal run this group has had, and they'll be really tough to replace. It's been a great group. I hate to see them leave, but as a coach, you always go through that. You're going to have to find new kids. I know when these kids came in as 8th graders, we had a good group of seniors leaving also. But what I liked about this group, they really took these 8th graders in under their wings and showed them what Oskaloosa softball is all about. Helped them in the off season, get better. Helped them during the season, when things would come up, always talking to them and trying to help them become better ball players. So that's what I remember about this group. They were just always there for these young kids, but boy, what a competitive group and what a very successful group.
It's going to be tough to watch Oskaloosa softball, especially for me, never having watched an Oski softball game before in my life, until I saw these girls play as a group of freshmen. And now, when you look at the future, a new set of, we've already touched on it, the amount of talent you have in the underclassmen ranks is just mind-boggling considering the amount of talent you had in the upperclassmen ranks this season. You have a couple of juniors that are obviously important players. You have a sophomore turning into a junior in Ashley Kinley that's been a starter the last couple of years. But I'm much more intrigued as your 8th grade class, freshman class this year, as they move up a class. And it's all going to start with Haley Hacker, who's going to likely be the ace moving forward. We can see that she throws hard. She's a lefty. She's got some potential there for sure. But along with all these batters and some girls that may be up into the 8th grade ranks that we might see pop into this program going into next year, for people who are a little unfamiliar with the Hacker name and maybe the Braunmeyer name and anybody else that wasn't on the field with regularity this year, what can you tell them about the future of the Oskaloosa softball program?
Well, I think the future is, bright. I think there's a lot of good young talent coming. There's kids we didn't even have on the varsity this year that I think could have been up there and probably could have helped us in some roles. Derek's still playing down the JV, still playing on the 9th grade team, and so you're going to see some kids jump in there next year that you didn't even hear about this year. We have that kind of program going right now, and that's good. That's a very good thing. Pitching-wise, yeah, you mentioned the Hackers, you mentioned the Braunmeyers. we had a Maggie Morris pitch on the freshman squad. On the middle school team, there was a girl by the name of Faith Durande, who's a pitcher coming up. That kind of reminds me a lot of Kylie Silliman. So again, we've got some pitchers to deal with, but again, we're losing a great one in Alexis Groot. I've been coaching 40 years, Emery, and I've never had a pitcher like her before in my life, and to watch her pitch for 5 years has been a lot of fun for me to work with her and to watch her grow as a pitcher. She started out right from the very get-go as our #1 as an 8th grader, and what she's accomplished, and then what she went through at the end of last season to get where she was again this season. People don't realize that, what she had to really battle, and that says a lot for Bear, and we're just so happy for her. And those other seniors that you had mentioned, especially Aubrey and Chuck, Alexis Westerkamp, those three really played since they were 8th graders. And those three are moving on now, but they're all going to go on and play college softball, and they're going to be 3 tough ones to really replace. But we got some young ones coming, and it's going to be nice to see which ones step up, because right now they've tasted success. Softball's known around this area. As Coach Fenton and I, you're going to have on later, we were talking at the All-Star game that Southeast Iowa, man, it's tough. This is a hotbed of softball right now going on, and Central Iowa's good, but so is Southeast Iowa, and so there'll be a lot of great teams around here again next year. So the people like softball, they're going to see a lot of it around this area.
Well, I saw an awful lot of it last week, and we'll talk about it with Coach Fenton. But those 3 players, DMAC for Alexis Groot, Indian Hills Community College for Aubrey Miller, and Alexis Westerkamp. What a great, fantastic group that you've been able to coach. And you've done a great job, of course, developing this program into the powerhouse that it has become. Congratulations on another phenomenal season, Coach Jay Harms. And we are going to chat with you again in the not-too-distant future to check in with this team.
Okay, well, thanks, Emery. I'd like to throw out a shout to Hy-Vee. They had Eddyville and Oskaloosa here for breakfast before we had our send-offs. And just a great thing that Hy-Vee does with this show, and also treating both Eddyville and Oskaloosa for Mega State tournaments. So thanks to Cleet and thanks to Ben for doing that.
Well, that is Coach Jay Harms, and we say come on down as well. We have a great dinner on tap until 7 o'clock tonight when this show wraps up. We're going to step away from the high school softball for a moment. When we come back, we're going to talk William Penn University soccer. You're not going to miss that. We'll be back right after this on the HyVeeHomestretch on the No Coast Network.
Hey Jill, have you heard about the big summer meltdown sales on Big Deals this week?
How hot are we talking?
It's price melting hot. It's hotter than Satan's toenails. It's hotter than a jalapeno's armpit. It's hotter than 2 rabbits making babies in a sock.
Wow, that's hot. What's on sale?
All sorts of gift certificates to your favorite local businesses. Concerts at the Pella Opera House, elite pedicures from the hair designers, iCubs tickets, Stam's Greenhouse, Snowbiz, Dutch Meadows Garden Center in Pella, memberships to Nelson Pioneer Farm, and rounds of golf to awesome courses like Oskaloosa Public Golf, the Ottumwa Country Club, and Boss Landon.
And you say these are all on Big Deals?
Right! Head to kboeradio.com and click on the Big Deals link to start shopping. But Jill, you have to go now. We are melting prices faster than your ice cream cone, and these hot deals won't last. It's KBOE Radio's Big Summer Meltdown. Shop local, save big.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy, with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today.
Welcome back to the HyVeeHomestretch here at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee, No Coast Network. My name's Emery Songer, and we're moving on. In our show, we have a lot of stuff to talk about later on in the show, but we're going to highlight for the first time on the show William Penn University soccer, especially on the men's side, with graduate assistant Michael Conchi. Michael, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, first of all, take me through your history and how your career in soccer has gotten you to be an assistant coach here at William Penn.
I mean, coming from England, soccer's everything. I played soccer ever since I was a kid. When I was 18, I got the opportunity to come over, and I played 4 years at Bellevue University. I loved my time there. After I graduated, I moved to Seattle in Washington, coached there for 2.5 years, and then got this opportunity to come and do my master's and be part of William Penn's soccer program. And I've been here for 1 year now and gearing up for my second, and it's been great ever since I joined last year.
This is a program that is on the rise. Numbers are huge. If you find a men's soccer program that has not quite gotten to its peak, only a couple of winning seasons in school history, and you see how many guys are out there competing with each other for spots under a young head coach in Jamie Highcock, who you've got a chance to work with, a guy that I'm sure at this point you know the ins and outs of how he likes his team to work. So explain to the folks this team, kind of how you guys like to run this team, and what style the men's soccer team plays for William Penn University.
Well, I mean, the principles are always the same every week. You know, tempo in our play, making sure that we're compact and we're working together defensively. You know, the goal is at this level is to always win. So those sort of things we try and incorporate every week. Our style does change every week, depending on who we're playing, what personnel that we have available. And we'll take the boys to detailed scouting reports every single week, just to give them the best chance of, you know, being prepared for the next game. And, you know, the next game is the most important one. It's not what's happening too far in the future. So we want to make sure that we get everything right. Our messages are clear as a staff from me, Jamie, Renato and Simon. Like I said, we want to prepare them as best we can.
This team last season was a tough break away from making a real deep run in the postseason, which was heartbreaking in your first year. And this is when Jamie's still just focusing on the men's, because, you know, we'll talk about that in a second, that he's now going to be covering both the men's and the women's programs, which is going to be a big challenge and up your responsibility a little bit, I'm sure. But when that double overtime loss to end your guys' season happened to the top seed in the conference, I'm sure that was heartbreaking, but it kind of let you guys know that you're not too far away from legitimately contending in the Heart of America Athletic Conference, and even beyond that. What was kind of the morale of this team and the message after the season ended of where you guys want to go, both in recruiting and development of the players that you still have?
Well, in terms of development, you know, we played Mid-America Nazarene. That's a team who beat us, who won the conference, they won the tournament, and in my opinion, they were the best team. And, you know, they beat us comfortably early in the season. We went down to Kansas, and it wasn't a nice experience down there. And, you know, luckily for us, we got a chance to play them again later on as the season went on, as you say. And, you know, we lost literally in the last minute of overtime, and that just shows how far the team progressed and improved. And you know, if we can take what we learned towards the end of the season and what we did in the spring season into the fall, and we start bright, I think we can mount a challenge, definitely.
This team now has to address a few glaring holes from the successful players that it had last year, namely Nenad Markovic, who was by far and away the leading goal scorer, one of the best goal scorers, not only in the Heart, but in the country. You're going to have to replace that, but I know defense is where you really like to start it, and you kind of had to piece together your goalkeeper situation last year. So explain to me how that kind of came about and how you thought Caleb ended up doing by the end of the season.
Well, Caleb basically come in and he saved us. You know, at the time we had a little bit of a goalkeeping crisis. Our starting goalkeeper, Manny Esparza, tore his ACL. So it was tough. We had to put Callum Doyle in goal, who's, you know, one of our main defenders, which was tough. And, you know, Caleb was obviously playing football at the time, and, you know, he's a really talented goalkeeper. And luckily for us, he managed to come back, and as I say, he saved us. So he did really well in the spring, and hopefully he can continue that and, you know, continue where he left off and earn a starting place in the fall.
How did that come about? I know you guys are probably looking for emergency options to try to keep your best players at their best positions and still have a capable goalkeeper, but when was the we should grab Caleb Pipe-Schoolsborough conversation, and how did he react when you guys approached him about it?
Straight away. I mean, you know, goalkeeper is such a specialised position on the field. It's a tough position to play, and you know, you can't just throw one of your best defenders in goal. So, you know, we spoke to Caleb, we spoke to Coach Hafner, the football coach, and, you know, he was happy to let Caleb come and help us out. And since Caleb's come in, he's been a real leader. You know, he was a junior, this will be his senior year. I've actually been working with him a little bit one-on-one in the spring and in the summer. So hopefully, like I said, he can continue that and continue his work and maintain his starting position for the fall.
So that's your goalkeeper situation, and you want to try to limit goals other teams score and communication between your midfield and your back line are obviously very important positions. You mentioned the defense. Defense has been a strong suit for William Penn in certain positions at certain times, but having a unit of players that you can fully trust is hard to come by in any league at any level. What does the back line look for William Penn heading into 2017?
I mean, we've signed a couple of players that we think can come in and challenge. You know, last year we did really well, especially in the spring season defensively. You know, we tied Drake 1-1 and we won our other 2 games while keeping a clean sheet. So defensively, as the season went on and into the spring, you know, we saw a lot of improvement. But the biggest thing when we're defending is to make sure that everyone's on the same page, they work together as a unit. You know, you mentioned communication, that's obviously a key trait to have as a back four and into the midfield, and you know, that also comes from the goalkeeper as well. And you know, we work together all the time with the defenders, and we're seeing a lot of improvements. And you know, if you don't concede a goal in a game, within a game, you're not going to lose. So that's what we try. That's the message we try and get across to them. But as you say, it's not always easy.
Well, now it's a matter of also replacing the goal scoring capabilities of your best goal scorer from last year, because it helps when you can score a goal or 2 per game. So what are you guys going to be looking to on the forward side of the field?
Well, obviously you mentioned Nenad. He did a fantastic job for us. You know, couldn't fault his effort. I think he got Freshman of the Year in the conference. But it's a chance for other players to come in and stake a claim. You know, I mean, obviously Nenad did great last year, but you know, it's not just about one guy. It's about, you know, the team as a whole. So if players can chip in from midfield and score goals, and we've got a couple of strikers coming in the fall, which we're excited about. We think, you know, hopefully we can replace Nenad and continue to score the goals that we were scoring last year.
I was a little surprised to see at the time athletic director Greg Hafner. I got the email from Wade Steinlage, the sports information director, that said the new women's soccer coach is Jamie Highcock, and he's also going to remain the men's soccer coach. So Simon has been promoted to like an associate head coach position to kind of help him with that. I'm sure coaches like yourself are going to be really upping your responsibility level while he tries to manage 2 programs at the same time. So before we even get into the fall season and the first real test to see how that's going to be working in the season, what do you think is going to happen, and how is this going to work with you especially, and how do you think Jamie's going to be able to balance both the women's program and the men's program?
Well, I mean, I think first and foremost, Jamie works really hard. I think he'll have no problem doing that, and you know, he's got good people underneath him. Simon has come in end of the spring season, and he's been brilliant ever since he's come in, and you know, he's worked really hard on both sides, men and women. But it's a chance for myself and Renato to step up and do more as well. So that's something that we're looking forward to doing. But as I say, Jamie, you know, he works really hard. The school's obviously got a lot of faith in him to do it, and I don't think it'll be a big issue, to be honest.
Well, if you don't think it's a big issue, I don't think it's a big issue. So now it's a matter of getting these kids back on campus in the next couple of weeks, getting some training camp going, and you guys are going to be starting the season in the next 5-6 weeks here and really getting into conference play before we know it. So what is the agenda, and what kind of plans do you guys have for the first couple of weeks the kids are on campus?
First of all, it's to bed everyone in together. You know, you mentioned communication before. We want to see that straight away from everyone, especially the returning boys who've been in the program, you know, for a number of years. It's a chance for them to step up and take a leadership role and help the younger boys coming in. We do have a lot of freshmen coming in from different parts of the world. So it's important that we get everyone on the same page, working together. And then we start pre-season on the 7th. You know, that's when everyone will report. You know, the boys will go through their fitness regime. We've got 2 friendly games coming up, and then on the 19th, we're playing Bellevue, my old school, at home, so that'll be interesting, and it's one that I'm looking forward to the most.
Well, it's going to be fun to see this team kind of develop with Jamie's 3rd season. He's now starting to get a lot of his recruits that are going to be moving up, and you'll see a lot more of Jamie's recruits all over the field. It's going to be fun to see how this kind of balances between the men's and the women's programs, and I'm excited to talk to you and talk to Jamie as well and see how this program's going as we get closer to this season. Michael Conchi, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
That's Michael Conchi. He's the grad assistant for the men's soccer program at William Penn University. We'll stay with the WPU side of things, and we're going to talk volleyball. Volleyball's coming up very quickly as well, and their head coach, Jennifer Carlson, she's on deck right here on the HyVeeHomestretch on the No Coast Network.
Hey Jill, have you heard about the big summer meltdown sales on Big Deals this week?
How hot are we talking?
It's price melting hot. It's hotter than Satan's toenails. It's hotter than a jalapeno's armpit. It's hotter than 2 rabbits making babies in a sock.
Wow, that's hot. What's on sale?
All sorts of gift certificates to your favorite local businesses. Concerts at the Pella Opera House, elite pedicures from the hair designers, iCubs tickets, Stamps Greenhouse, Snowbiz, Dutch Meadows Garden Center in Pella, memberships to Nelson Pioneer Farm, and rounds of golf to awesome courses like Oskaloosa Public Golf, the Ottumwa Country Club, and Boss Landon.
And you say these are all on Big Deals?
Right, head to kboeradio.com and click on the Big Deals link to start shopping. But Jill, you have to go now. We are melting prices faster than your ice cream cone, and these hot deals won't last. It's KBOE Radio's Big Summer Meltdown. Shop local, save big.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today.
Back here on the HyVeeHomestretch, still have a half hour to come out to the Oskaloosa Hy-Vee and enjoy the fantastic meal. For the time being, I'm being joined by William Penn University volleyball coach Jennifer Carlson. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah.
First things first.
All right.
We are sitting at the end of July all of a sudden. We talked maybe 6 weeks ago, kind of touched base, talked about some of the camps you had coming up. And then I just asked you as soon as you sat down, how many days until we're going? And you said something like, 11 or something like that. So less than 2 weeks now, and we're off and running here in the fall sports season. And your volleyball program is now going to be fully established with your recruits and in a very difficult conference. First off, how has the rest of this summer gone? How did the camps go? And how have you been enjoying the last few days of freedom that you've had?
Oh, I mean, it's nice because, okay, we get May off. May comes and goes, and then it's June, and then you're on vacation for like your little, and then it's done. Like, I remember the countdown hitting 30 and being like, oh my gosh, it's done. And now it's like we're in the single digits almost coming up, and they're moving in, and obviously we're getting really excited and tying all the loose ends together, but I'm excited to get volleyball going. I'm really excited to, new girls like you said, returners coming in, you know, the junior class is one of the biggest classes we've brought in since I've been here, so they've matured, they've worked a lot in the off season, they've added a lot more team to the dynamic of just volleyball, so I think they're really excited. So I'm really hoping that the leadership skills are going to grow because, I mean, I'm a huge believer on people working hard. Are we going to be the most talented in the conference? Probably not. I mean, we face some top 25 teams, but I think, you know, when you're playing hard and you're working hard and you have that rhythm and that flow with each other, I think you get some very successful things to happen.
You're 5 now, and a lot of the girls that you inherited until this class is going to be seniors, and it's really been just kind of trying to piece some players together to try to fit a winning program together. Not easy with the schedule that you guys play. So right off the bat, I'm just going to ask exactly what I know from being on campus early, seeing those girls there 2-3 times a day in the gym, working out, doing different things before their season even starts. And then you guys are off playing 5-game days immediately, making long drives to different states, getting a ton of games in early on in the season. So what's the agenda as these girls get to campus the next couple of weeks?
Well, it's funny that, you know, you see yourself develop as a coach too, because I will never forget being 12 years old and the first travel sport I played, our coach told us you had to play the hardest team because if you're getting by the hardest team, you're going to get better, and we did. So what was my mindset as a coach? Let's go play these hard teams. We weren't ready for it. Didn't have, you know, the personnel for it. Didn't have that quite yet. So I learned and we backed off a little bit, and that didn't necessarily go as planned either. You know, you plan all these things out. But this year, I think we're in the right place. We're going to have some tough games. With our conference's new schedule, we have 19 conference matches of our 26, 28 of our matches that we have. So it didn't give me a lot of leniency for, you know, that roster or that schedule like I wanted to really work on building up and get some confidence and stuff. But we have a handful in there. This is my first year with probably 7 on campus, so I have got to work with a handful of them over the summer and see the improvements and see the dedication in the weight room and that type of stuff, which can't control the people who are at home. And every coach goes through that struggle, including myself as a player. I was not always the only in the weight room a lot, but when we get into camp, it's always the same for me. First 2 days, we got 3 days. We're gonna play some, but we're gonna go through, you're gonna learn my systems, and we're gonna, you gotta be able to do some certain drills, and you gotta be able to do them right. So that's the real focus. We play the 18th, so that's move-in days the 4th, and we play 15 days later, right? Yeah, 15
So
days
we're
later,
like 3 weeks away from that.
Yeah. So it's not like we have that 3 week of, get comfortable. It's, you got 3 days, and then we got to start, having a mindset of we play next week. So, we'll throw in a little bit with Coach Haugen and lifting, because some of the girls, aren't familiar with it. We'll do a lot of team bonding stuff, but we'll be in the gym.
That's good to hear, because a lot of these girls, what they know coming in, that ties them all together, whether they're from the big city, the small town, it's volleyball. Playing volleyball, the same dimensions, the same net height, everything's the same. But your system, as you mentioned, they have to learn. When they learn that system, it's about executing it in matches. And you need the personnel to do that as well. And depth helps, because that, kind of fosters an environment where girls are going to be competitive in the preseason, trying to win spots, win time on the varsity level. You've had a couple of big classes that have also come in the last couple of years to really fill out your roster. So what do you see as some of the high battles, some of the positions that you're hoping there's high competitiveness for, and that you'll have some depth for, so when game time does come, you have a few different options?
I think the most excited I am is to get a couple outside hitters in. You'd think that's your easiest. You'll have tons of outside hitters and all that type of stuff. And it was just always having the consistent execution out there. And I mean, you've been to a handful of our games. If one was on, every other hitter was off. Or if this person was on, then we didn't have an outside hitter off. And when you're looking at a lineup, and I've loved to actually have a couple girls in my office that want to understand. You get a volleyball player. I love to play volleyball. I love it. You ask them a lineup question, and it's kind of like, So you go through and you start talking them through it, and it's like, that's why that person goes there, and this person's supposed to do this. So seeing them grow and understand, what our concept is, and know that, okay, we're bringing in this kid this year, that's supposed to be filling this spot, and we're, this kid's supposed to do this. I'm excited for the depth. We haven't always had the depth, or should I say the depth that can contribute to what maybe our highest talent had done. I think now we're going to be able to move some kids around, and we will have that depth, where before it was kind of, they knew their position. It wasn't always earned, so that was hard. So that's going to be another change this year, is, going into that first day of practice, no one has a spot. And I can truly say no one has a spot. Now you got to work your butts off.
And that's going to make for competitive volleyball even in practice, which fosters that environment of winning volleyball even in practice games as you get ready for the actual schedule. So now I want to ask you quickly about the environment of William Penn Athletics. New athletic director, Nick Rule, you saw the process happen firsthand. And Nick's, knowing Nick, and he's one of my good friends, one of the things that I know about him is all those programs that used to be like the women's golf program was 7 years ago, he wants them to turn into the women's golf program of now, where he got a little bit of time under his belt and they started to win, and they have been very successful. The football team's had a coach that's been there for a dozen years. You have a basketball program that's had a coach for a dozen years. The continuity of those programs have led to winning environments, and they're great coaches. You now finally have a group of girls that you can finally call your own. You talk about the depth and the competitiveness, not easy to build when your program has, was struggling even before you had a chance to even come in here and try to change the culture. So now with this, and I'm nothing with Greg Hafner's, ability to develop programs, that's definitely not what I'm saying. It's just Nick Rule sees opportunities with these other programs that haven't quite pinnacled yet. So with this new energy, with a young athletics director, what do you see your program and how it kind of fits in there, and what are you hoping to build over the next couple of years to kind of fit that mold of a program that, even though we were not in a competitive spot a couple of years ago, we have our sights set on being extremely competitive in the near future?
I think a big conversation that me and Nick have had multiple times, and it goes across the board, is just the support system. So, you know, each one of us as coaches supporting the other person and knowing that you have those backs, because yes, you know, Coach Hafner, Coach Henry, all of them have been here for so long. Well, they did not happen overnight, you know, and you do get to hear those stories. But, you know, me starting out fresh, when you go through those struggles, you know, you want to hear about them. You might not always take it in like you want to, because, you know, I hate losing. Like, I don't need someone to tell me like, oh, you know, it's gonna be okay, just a bump in the patch. I've done that too. I hate losing. Like, it is time that we gotta go. You know, like, I have a fire, and so supporting each other from top to bottom is gonna be huge for us. If that's, you know, random messages to each other, just supporting, hey, how'd this go, congrats. If it's jumping in the gym every once in a while, like, what's going on, that's going to be a huge starting point for us as an athletic staff, and having each other's backs. And I think when everyone's on the same page with that, I mean, just like I'm talking about with my team, we're going to see lots of positive changes. So I think I'm excited to see where we're headed. We bowled yesterday as a staff, and it got pretty competitive, and we all had fun. And you know, I'm looking forward to see what else will come, you know, with the new direction.
Well, I saw the pictures on Facebook, and I was just, wow, they got everybody out there, and I'm sure that was fun to kind of hang out in a competitive environment with some of your colleagues as well. So, how'd you do?
You know, I at least broke 100 both times.
Wow.
Nick was on my team, and you know, it was Coach Reed with wrestling, and then one of the strength staff coaches, and Nick's like, I'm horrible, guys. Nick bowled 5 strikes in a row. And everyone like came around our screen as like, Nick, let's see if you can do it again. But Nick was just throwing strikes left and right, and we got second place.
Well, I mean, I love the fact that the volleyball coach, the athletics director, the wrestling coach, and a strength person. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a fun team, because you guys don't typically will have a chance like that to interact. So you can tell that it's about having fun, and everybody's trying to get together. Just talking to Michael, who's a graduate assistant, this is only going to be his 2nd year as a part of the William Penn family, and he's excited to see how Jamie does as a coach for both the men's and women's, you know, programs. And I know a lot of eyeballs are on the football program, but cross country and golf and volleyball all have their place in the fall sports program for William Penn. So now, for people who haven't gotten a chance to see you guys play, and because of how wild the volleyball schedules are, you don't play a ton of your games at home, but try to tell the folks at home how you like your girls to play, what kind of energy the people can expect, and what you're hoping to see from your ball club here in 2017.
Energy is a huge one. You know, and I can give a perfect example of, I want consistency out of them. That's one main thing. Last year, we were home against, they were Evangel. So the year before, they were number 2 in our conference. So good team, you know, went to nationals, and we got ready for them to come home. And we took them to 5, should have won. Again, should have won, totally get that. But the energy in the gym, the crowd was engaged, the coaching staff was engaged, the girls were engaged, they were doing what they were supposed to do. Everything linked up. And it's so easy as a coach to be like, did you see how successful that was? There was nothing over the ordinary that you guys did. We have to keep that. So ever since that day, we've just had that gym go crazy. That's been our number 1 goal. This is what you consistently could be, because we turned around the next night and it was not the same team. So I think as far as, you know, building the culture and that type of stuff, team and energy is huge. And then one main word we're working on is purpose. That's been something we've been driving home the whole entire spring season, and getting into this is, what's your purpose and what's your why? Why do you do this? And do every practice with a purpose, do every drill with a purpose, because, I mean, you've been a college athlete. We go, and then it's this and this and this, and I don't want to hit today. I don't want to go to practice today. Instead of like, how am I going to get better today? What can I do better? When I hit this today, if I'm sore, why don't I fix my shots? And that's the type of player we have to be. What's your purpose? What's your why? And that's what we're really going to push home.
Wow, it sounds like all of the great foundation pieces to what will be a very successful program. So I'll ask you a very specific question to get you out of here on this. Give me one player you think is going to be a name we need to watch for William Penn volleyball in 2017.
Gosh, a name we need to watch. That's kind of I'm going to throw just a couple.
All right, I'll give you a couple.
Because defensively, you know, we got two different types of sports. I'm so excited to see our libero, Ashley Miller, play. We're talking about junior year, last year, or let's go this way. Freshman year, she was a freshman, she was a DS, she was behind a libero. Last year, she kind of had to step into that role. This year, with what she's been doing this summer, the leadership skills are coming. So I think you're just gonna see her bloom as a person on the court, but also blooming as someone that's going to lead this team. So I'm so excited because she wants to win too, just like me. I mean, we're on the same page. As far as, you know, an offense goes, I'm excited for some of our new kids. I think we got, you know, Jordan Carter from the area that's coming in, transferring in. We got a couple freshmen and we got a couple returners. So that's what I'm excited to see.
We're excited to see it too, Jennifer Carlson. Good luck this season. I'm excited to see how this team continues to develop, and we'll be talking to you again pretty soon, I think.
Thanks.
That is Jennifer Carlson, the head volleyball coach at William Penn University. Very exciting stuff with that program as well. We'll come back and we'll wrap it up with a team that had a very successful season, Eddyville-Blacksburg Fremont softball. Their head coach, Tony Fitton, will be joining me after this right here on the HyVeeHomestretch on the No Coast Network.
Hey Jill, have you heard about the big summer meltdown sales on Big Deals this week?
How hot are we talking?
It's price melting hot. It's hotter than Satan's toenails. It's hotter than a jalapeno's armpit. It's hotter than two rabbits making babies in a sock.
Wow, that's hot. What's on sale?
All sorts of gift certificates to your favorite local businesses. Concerts at the Pella Opera House, elite pedicures from the hair designers, iCubs tickets, Stam's Greenhouse, Snowbiz, Dutch Meadows Garden Center in Pella, memberships to Nelson Pioneer Farm, and rounds of golf to awesome courses like Oskaloosa Public Golf, the Atomo Country Club, and Boss Landon.
And you say these are all on Big Deals?
Right. Head to kboeradio.com and click on the Big Deals link to start shopping. But Jill, you have to go now. We are melting prices faster than your ice cream cone, and these hot deals won't last. It's KBOE Radio's Big Summer Meltdown. Shop local, save big.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today.
Back here for the final time on the HyVeeHomestretch, Emery Songer with you, and we're going to wrap up with a very successful coach for a very successful program, Eddyville-Blacksburg Fremont softball coach Tony Fitton. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We talk a lot. I love having you on because I love your team. I love your basketball team, but I really love your softball team. And this year, your softball team gave everybody the thrills that we've gotten used to for Eddyville-Blacksburg Fremont softball. Making it back to Fort Dodge, making it back as a 6th seed to the state championship game. And then you had that 16-inning marathon. It didn't end the way we want. We don't have to dwell on that game, but overall, another very successful trip to Fort Dodge, a 2nd place finish, and a school record in wins in 2017. So let's talk about last week. A little chaotic. You guys, I think we all can agree you were criminally underrated going into the tournament. I don't know how you slipped down to number 9 in the state, and we're only a 6th seed going into the tournament, but Waterloo Columbus Catholic found that out, and then Interstate 35 found that out, and Regina found out you guys are no pushover either. Take me through what you guys were kind of planning as the week went on, as you still somehow had a chip on your shoulder.
Well, once we got there, we were going to win it. I mean, that was our goal from day one of practice, and you know, we didn't care who we played, just bring them on. That was our attitude, and you know, being the number 6 seed, we handed it to the top seeds, and you know, we let the last one get away, but definitely had it in our grasp. So it was one of those things that we, you know, our kids, they were hungry for that championship, and you know, we've been there twice in the last few years now, and been runner-up both times. But there's a lot of teams in the state that would take that, I think. So yeah, I was very pleased with the way we played.
I think there's a lot of teams that would trade just a trip to state for in a couple of years for their kids. You had a great season. We talk about school record, over 30 wins this year, or 32 wins, I believe, was the number. That's unbelievable. How you guys are number 9 just doesn't make any sense to me, but that's neither here nor there. You guys finished up in the state championship game where you belonged. My question to you is, you knew you had the pieces. You knew you had a big senior class, pretty much everybody from last year's team coming back. Couple of little hiccups during the season, but you beat good teams. You played tough against other teams. Besides those hiccups, this was a pretty solid season from start to finish. What did you see out there?
You know, our hitting was amazing, especially early in the year. I mean, we were getting 10, 12 hits a game, getting the timely hits. And then when we had those hiccups, we weren't getting those hits. We had a few errors. You know, we had 3 first basemen this year. We had 2 get hurt during the season. And, you know, Terry Jo we put her over there to first. And she did a tremendous job for not practicing there all year. And, you know, once we got to state tournament, we said, well, we're going to go with that lineup. The other 2 were cleared to play, but they were still a little gun shy and stuff. So we did use them there later on in the week. But I was really pleased with the way we gelled together as a team. We had a focus, and it was just one of those things that they weren't going to be denied.
This team was loaded with seniors and major contributors. Let's talk about the senior class now. Taryn Schwartz in the outfield, who by all accounts is one of the fastest players I've seen play softball and a real difference maker. That did very well at the state tournament and in the regional tournament, as well as a leadoff hitter. You had Hagen Boyer, who's one of the best offensive players in the state of Iowa, regardless of class. What a year she had, nearly 60 RBIs almost on the year. Tough championship game for her, but at shortstop, you're going to find a better arm, a better fielder, and a 4-year starter for you from the 2014 team that made it all the way through a return trip for her, which I'm sure felt good. Same story for Claire Yeager, who was a senior this year, a great catcher. And you say you let her make all the decisions behind the plate, which is fun for her and for the city of Eddyville to know that, hey, guess what? This girl is, you know, this capable with the pitching that she's been able to catch over her 4 years from Natalia Hopkins through Randy Richmond. And then Peyton Heineck, Terry Lane that you mentioned that did so well as a last-minute replacement over at first base, and then Jay Johnson, who was also injured this season. It just was not a lucky season for you guys, but you were able to make it work. This senior class made it work. What can you say about this group?
You know, there's a lot of leadership there. Once a lot of them were on the team that they might not have played, but we took them along so they get the experience of just being up there. And once you're there, you want to go back. I mean, and that was a goal. They worked hard in the off season, and you know, they had a chip on the shoulder, you could say. You know, there was nobody that we didn't think we were going to beat when we stepped onto the field, and you know, some of the bigger schools found that out when we played them. But you know, the leadership they had, the perseverance that you know, to get through that bumpy stretch in the season and still not lose your confidence as a team, it tells a lot about the leadership that they provided.
And on the field product, unbelievable stuff. We talked about when you made it in 2014, losing a couple of athletes of the Tosh Alexander and Natalia Hopkins type. That's a big loss. When you talk about your leadoff hitter, your 3-hitter, your 4-hitter, your corner infielders, and your catcher, your shortstop, this is a big class to lose on the field as well as in the dugout. So when you talk about accomplishments, you haven't been a coach for 40 years at Eddyville, Blacksburg, Fremont, but you're not going to see a ton of groups that are this diverse in terms of their skill set and the success that they're able to also enjoy. So as this season comes to a close, and you've had almost a week now to reflect on their careers on the field that you've been able to enjoy, whether they started like Hagen and Claire right at the beginning or, you know, kind of developed later like Peyton Heineck or even Taryn Schwartz, who really wasn't the kind of caliber of player she was until her junior and senior year. Right. What can you say about their on-field production over their careers? You
know, to me, that's part of the program. Not everybody can step in and be a varsity starter. You lose a lot of kids because they want to play the varsity, and you know, we had some kids that they didn't step on the field until they were juniors last year, and then some of them may not have played near as much as they wanted, but to stick it out, you know, it's tremendous. You know, everybody said, "How'd you keep 6 seniors out?" I don't know if it was me doing that, but them loving the game so much and staying out there and giving it their all, and to go through the program, and see the success that we had in 2014, and they wanted to duplicate that. So that was a goal. So they just stayed out, worked hard, and dreams. We got there.
Got there, made it to another state championship game, played in one of the classic games that'll probably be ever played at the state softball tournament. And now you have another group that watches these seniors lead them there, and they want to taste that again. And we're talking the Madison Wades. Randy Richmond's still around, by the way. You got Darian Johnson, who played really well at the state tournament for a sophomore. There are a lot of different players. Raina Taylor is an all-conference player and has all-state caliber. The gun that she has in center field, and she's going to be able to give you innings in the circle, as we saw again this year. You almost split between Richmond and Taylor.
Right.
You could have gone either way. So you still have a lot of good young contributors, and now some spots are going to open up on the field for some new players that are, kind of chomping at the bit to get a chance to be in the game in a Rocket uniform. So returning, the cupboard isn't bare for you either. You talk about Coach Jay Harms and Oskaloosa. They got plenty of young players that they're going to be able to utilize for a huge senior class that they just lost. You guys aren't too far away from that either. So what returning from what you have returning is exciting you the most?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got 6 people that started this year for us that will be returning next year. So, we lose 7 seniors, but I've got 6 people now that may, they have to earn their spot, but that looking to play full time. So, yeah, it's not bare. We got a lot of good young kids as well in our 8th and 9th graders that are on the team. We had 35 kids out for softball this year, and in our conference, we're the smallest team, but we have the most players out. And there's just a lot of people who really love the game. We practice everybody together, so they learn the system, and it's been very successful for us.
That makes it really exciting for Rocket fans too, because you're a great coach. We see the success. You have the pitching back, which is huge considering how dominant we've seen Randy not only at the state tournament, but Raina Taylor also has. They're almost exact numbers between the two of them heading into the postseason. And the bats are still there. The Darian Johnsons, we didn't mention Brianna Versteg, but she stepped in as a defensive second baseman really well too. But there are still ways that your team can actually improve with, some of the young players that'll get a chance to step on the field. So who are some of the players that we didn't get to see that have you really excited to see what they'll do at the varsity level?
Well, you didn't get to see Lexi Taylor at the tournament, but she was our starting first baseman, tore a hamstring. Her bat was great during the season until she got hurt. Emily Davis, she courtesy run there. She was stepped in for Lexi until she hurt her hamstring. So
and she's only an 8th grader, right?
She's an 8th grader. So there's 2 people right there fighting for first base. So it's one of those things. I got to find a spot for somebody, and they keep working hard. They'll find a spot on the field. We got some other kids there. We got some young pitchers, like you talked about Raina. She's good on the mound as well, and we were going about every other game with her and Randy just at the end, we were better defensively with Raina in the outfield, we thought, so we went with Randy, and Randy threw superb during the postseason. We got Faith Roberts probably step in at third base next year, so that's some people we have sitting there that really didn't get a lot of playing time this year. It's hard. It was hard on them, but they played a lot of 9th grade JV for us, and they're going to get better.
And you play a tough schedule as well. These 32 wins that you had this season were not by any means, let's just play every 1A school in our area and try to just make ourselves look good. You play a lot of good competition in all classes. You want to go out and play some great teams. These girls are going to be varsity ready, but the support for this team at the state tournament from even the Albia, Oskaloosa communities, all of our area communities kind of would converge together and watch each other play, which was really fun for us as we covered all 5 of you guys, and for you and Albia to be the 2 teams left standing for the championship games. And while Albia waited 8 hours for their game to start, they were actually in the Eddyville student section or the Eddyville cheering section, rooting you guys on during your 16-inning marathon. What can you say about the support your program has been able to have since you've been the head coach?
Well, I think we've got quite a few followers. I know we got some people that come to our games that hadn't been to a game for years and years and years. Now that they're some of the first ones there to get their seats at home. They made the trip to Fort Dodge and watched us. So our fan base is great. I really think we might have had the most fans up there of all the teams, and it just got more and more as the week went on, and to all the emails and texts and stuff that we're getting from people that aren't part of our community but wish us well, congratulate us on a great season. And, in Oskaloosa, Hy-Vee here, they put on that dinner before we left Oskaloosa, and the EBF teams. That was great. And again, Albia, we got up there, we watched all the teams that we could, and Albia, we were in their section there cheering them on their first game and stuff there on Tuesday, and it was just great to see all the teams in this area. We woke up the state, I think, a little bit. I talked with Coach White, who was the Solon's coach, and he talked a little bit about scouting our conference, and he says he went back and called the state and said, "Well, you guys messed up, man. There's buzzsaws down there, and they're gonna do well."
Out, yeah.
Yeah, and he found out, but he knew it before he played us because he went and done a lot of scouting. So that says a lot, and we had a lot of area teams, and it was just great to see us make it and perform well up there.
Well, Coach Fenton, always fun to follow your team. We had a great time covering your team. Congratulations on a school record-breaking season. Can't wait to do it again next year.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, that's
Appreciate
Coach Tony Fitton, Eddie Old Blacksburg Fremont Rockets. What a season they had. 32 wins on the year. That is a school record. And that'll wrap up our show. I'd like to thank Coach Fitton, Coach Jay Harms, Oskaloosa softball, Jennifer Carlson, William Penn University volleyball head coach, and of course Michael Conchi, the graduate assistant for the men's soccer program at William Penn. And that'll wrap up our show. We'll have a fresh one next week along with a great dinner. Do not miss it live here at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. For Titus Letzring and Alyssa Phillips and everybody at the No Coast Network, this is Emery Sunger signing off for the Hy-Vee Homestretch here on the No Coast Network.